G'day guys, welcome back to the Fond Supercoach YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing a quick team update. As of the time of recording, it is currently the fourth quarter in the GWS Sydney game. So the second round of preseason games won't be factored into this team. However, it will likely change in 4 days' time when all those games have played. Firstly, there were some people keen for a league. So here it is. The league code is 208961. It is just a public or like a private league that has any number of players. So it's just basically the highest scorer will win at the end of the year. There is no prizing or anything like that, but feel free to join and compete amongst each other and compete with me. So yeah, let's get into the team update. Now, I will preface this by saying there's a lot of water to go under the bridge. So I guess we'll start in defence. I'm just going to do a classic line-by-line sort of thing. We'll talk about some players I don't have at the end. Lachie Whitfield at D1. The fixture is too good for me to pass up. Ash is somewhat interesting, but for me, Whitfield is the one that really cashes in on the easier matchups for the designated kicker back types. So I've got him at D1. Don't want to fade the fixture. Rosie at D2, think he is a little bit underpriced. Port have a great fixture. He should be good with a full preseason in defence. And then McKercher at D3. Not sure he will play round one. The reporting suggests that he will. I must admit, I am not overly keen on this pick. He had no kick-ins in the practice game, and the role was really high up the ground. I am purely picking this because he is highly owned at this point. If he was 5%, I just wouldn't have this guy, if I'm going to be honest. Caleb Windsor at D4. This is probably not very popular, but I viewed the role in the game against North as being quite good. I've had Caleb Windsor pretty much since my first team update or reveal. I don't know if I've done a team update between now and then. But yeah, I've had Caleb Windsor for a while now. I really like the role. I thought against North, he had a bad game, got his hands to a lot of balls that he just didn't take cleanly. And North also were a training drill. There was no need for Melbourne to go sideways or do handball receives. It was literally just Melbourne player marks the ball, Melbourne player kicks up the ground to someone else who marks the ball. Very simple game plan. Absolutely useless game for determining players' abilities within their roles. So that's why I have Caleb Windsor. D5, I have Josh Lindsay. I'm not sure what defender rookies we're actually going to get. Lindsay, I think, is the best kick in that West Coast defence, so I'm reasonably confident he will play, but McQualter was a little bit hard to get a read on last season with rookies and mid-priced type players. Obviously, they're not mid-prices in his team, but for us, like, I'm talking Flynn, Marriage, like, all sorts of guys, Hewitt. He was tough to get a read on. I think he will play. I think he helps West Coast fix their biggest issue, which last season, well, obviously everything is an issue for West Coast, but they could not control the ball at all last season, and I think a good kick really helps with that in your back half. So I have him on field for now. I think he should get a lot of usage. I have Lockie Jakes. I thought it was Jarks, but apparently it's Jakes. He looks like he's going to play round 0, and we'll get to assess how he goes there. I think he'll hold his spot. I was pretty impressed with him in that practice game. We'll get another look at him, I think, tomorrow. But yeah, he was quite good. And then I have, on the bench, I have Jai Sarong, who I'm not sure is picked round 1 or round 0. But I have Farrow and Grill elsewhere to manoeuvre into defence if required. And then I have Wade Dirksen at D8, who I had before the game last night, but last night's game didn't hurt. He's just a good user. I think Carlton really need that. And it was on display last night. I thought he was quite good. I think he's significantly better than Lewis Young. So provided that Carlton are willing to roll out Haynes, Wiedering and Dirksen in a completed or healthy side, he should play and hold. So also at 99k, he doesn't need to play much to make money. Again, we get another look in round 0, so that'll be good. Also, with these rookies who play in round 0, that score affects their price, so it's very good knowledge to have. Moving on into the midfield, I have Zach Butters. Has not moved once, will not move once unless he gets injured. M2, I have Nick Dacos, who is a semi-recent addition to the side. I just think that Collingwood are going to have solutions for him getting tagged. He's going to go behind the ball. They're going to start bullying dudes. They've got it. They have a guy. I think is his name Angus. Angus Anderson. Yeah, there you go. Who was just bulldozing people in that practice match last week. Not sure if he'll play, but he's an enforcer type that maybe Dacos would benefit from. I think Collingwood have plans. So I really like that. I also don't think the run is that bad anymore, given that Adelaide's midfield is cooked and there's no Toby Bedford. So I'm willing to just go into this. Obviously, there's going to be a Wagner tag in round 5 against Freo, and then round 9. But other than that, I think the run is quite good. I could see myself moving off from this, but I'm not keen to do so. M3, I have Errol, who tweaked his ankle today, unfortunately, but he'll be fine. That's not a problem. I did have a little bit of a concern today where it looked like he was playing a lot forward when he was on the ground. And I'm not talking just half forward and up onto the ball then. He was actually staying forward, which is a little bit concerning. I spoke to my mate who goes to Sydney, and he reckons that won't happen in the real stuff, so I'm going to trust his judgment. Makes no sense for me for Errol to be playing there, so I'm not surprised by that at all. So yes, I am still confident on Errol Goulden. M4, I have Hayden Young. He hasn't moved since open, although I will say I don't think he's a must-have. I'm not sure he's going to... I think if he makes 150k, he's must-have. I'm not convinced he gets there. He should get to at least 500, 510 though. So that's why I've got him. Again, the ownership protection is half the reason I have the pick. Parrish is an absolute no-brainer if he makes it to round 1. It's really that simple. At M6, I have Xavier Lindsay. So I just thought the role was quite good. It's worth noting that Lindsay last year in his rookie season played fat side wing and was giving us 75 for a few games. So distributing, not primary distributor, I don't think, but a lot of ball in half back. I think that bodes well for him. I thought he actually looked quite good defensively last week as well, which is not something I would have said about him last year. So that improvement is good to see. I think he will be absolutely locked into that Melbourne defence, and I think he should get kick-ins as well. Tom McDonald took a lot of the kick-ins against North. I'm not convinced he plays once Harrison Petty is fit, but we will see. And then at M7, I have Braden Cook, who's come into the side in the last 24 hours. I will be honest, not because of what happened in the Carlton game, obviously, but he just has a halfback role. His usage is all right. He's not an accumulator. I'm not sure about this one, but I think he will play. But he may not be in the side round 1. And then Jagger, absolute lock. Not even going to discuss him. He was unbelievable last night. And then on the bench, I have Grill. Grill, I'm not sure about, to be honest. He looked really good last week, but he was playing against Essendon, and B, there was no Banks in the side. And I think Banks is going to be the main guy back there. So I'm not sure about Grill's role. He's also been doing a lot of lockdown defender type stuff at training. I'm not sure about Grill, but I've got him for now. We'll get another look at him this week. Chase Jones at M10. I think this is pretty close to a lock, which sounds weird to say for a guy's been in the system for ages and is at this price, but he has scoring history playing in this wing role that he's going to be playing. And I don't think his job security is in danger until Curtin comes back. So I'm very keen on Chase Jones. And then at M11, I have Will Brodie, who I think is going to play 2 games and get dropped, but he can score. So he's in the side for now. He will probably be on field over Farrow, who's in my flex position when Will Brodie is playing. So I'll talk about Farrow now as well. I think he's Essendon's best kick. Also, every Essendon rookie defender that isn't playing lockdown just goes 63 plus. He makes money on that. I think he's got upside to do more. No-brainer in my eyes. So, the ruck line. I'll be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing in the ruck. Not a clue. I've had McAndrew R2, I've had Cherry, I've had McAndrew R2 plus someone who I think is playing an R3, plus Kalani White, plus I've had McAndrew in flex. I have no idea what's going on. So, fair warning, this ruck line no matter what point in the season or the preseason, I give you a team update, the ruck line is not set. So just saying that, I've still got no idea. I don't think the rucks are going to be as affected as I thought when doing the ruck video, but I'm still not sure. I need the round zero data. So that is just something I thought I'd point out. And I'm absolutely flying through this, so we're going to have to talk about some players who I don't have that I am interested in as well afterwards. F1, I've got Harry Sheasel. I think everyone has that. Everyone should have that, I think. So that's a no-brainer in my eyes. F2 and F3, I'm not really married to these picks. So Petrarca is my avenue into the Gold Coast early fixture, which is very, very, very good. Rail out also helps, but I'm not convinced that Petrarca will play more midfield time as a result of Rail being out. I just think that they're going to plug Alex Davies in and then pull him out when Rail is back. But it's worth noting that when Petrarca was putting up 120s for Melbourne, the games he was scoring big on were in wins because he was getting a high number of goal assists, score involvements, and he was just getting involved on the scoreboard himself. So I wouldn't say he's a downhill skier, but he really benefits from wins. And I think the Suns are going to have a lot of wins this year. So I do like Petrarca. If it was mid only, I wouldn't touch, obviously. And if there were better options in the forward line, I wouldn't be as interested either. But I think I like him for now. But I'm not married to the pick. And then Pickett, I think, is a trap. So why the hell do I have him? And I've been umming and ahhing over this pick for the last 2 days because I rewatched the North v Melbourne game and Pickett was forward a lot. Like, the CBAs weren't as high as I thought, and then when he was in the CBAs, the mid-time wasn't as good as I thought either. He was just going forward a lot of the time. I'm not sure why that was. There could have been a reason for that is completely unrelated to anything logical. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised watching that because it looked like he was everywhere. So Pickett is a huge watch for me. Obviously has a pretty decent buy, not having the early one or the round 12 buy. But yeah, Pickett, I think... I still think either way he should push top 6 at the very least. So he's there for now. He may move. Sam Flanders, F4, lock. Mateus Philippou, F5, lock. I don't think they're even worth discussing, to be honest. The interesting discussion with these two is how they affect Nazaya and Sinclair. But I'll talk about that once I get through the final few players. Dev Robertson at F6. I think Lombard is fieldable as well, but the role isn't as good as Dev Robertson's, so that's why I've got Dev there. As I said, Lombard is going to be playing like high half forward. I think he's just going to be a tackle bot. His job security seems the best of a lot of these high half forward type forward rookies, so that's why I've gone there. And then Harvey Harrison, not convinced he plays, but he's capable of putting up good scores. He's shown that before, and I think Collingwood need that type of player who's this like pressure forward, because it looks like McCreary is going into the midfield more, and I think Collingwood's game plan is really, really built on pressure forwards who are a little bit smarter, which Harrison seems to be that to me in the games I've seen him play. So that's why I've got him there. Not sure if he gets up for round 1. We'll see. So players that I like the look of that I don't have. So I had Sinclair for a while, and the reason I got off Sinclair was because I am concerned, even though the run's really good, I'm concerned that Flanders and Philippou affect him negatively. Now, they don't play the same position, so why would that be? So if the Saints roll out Flanders, Philippou, and McRae, as well as Nass in the midfield, plus Sinclair behind the ball, like, those 4 midfielders are very capable of getting the uncontested stuff off half back. Like, Nazai's a pig, Jack McRae's a pig, Flanders is a pig. So originally I thought Sinclair would just have the backline to himself, but the reality is these guys are going to come up and eat into some of his like uncontested easy ball. So that's sort of my concern. He may also take some time to adjust. I don't know, but that being said, the fixture is quite good. Fading him also allows me to avoid another one of these early buy players, which I prefer to avoid when possible. But yeah, I wasn't sure about Sinclair. But yeah, his fixture is absolutely elite until he pulls into the bye. He's got a few tougher games. But anyway, that's why I don't have Sinclair. I don't have Nazaya for a similar reason, but I didn't have Nazaya much earlier, so I won't really discuss that too much. Miles Bergman I have had for a while, but I am just a little bit uncertain about the role. So I don't have him for now. He's also another one of these round 12 bye players that I'm trying to avoid. So that's why Bergman has made way. I also really, if I want to start someone at this price, I want someone who I'm confident can go 105 in that defender premium slot anyway. And I think McKercher is more likely to do that, even though I'm not particularly keen on McKercher anymore either. So that's where I stand with that. The other one who was in my side very recently was Jordan Clark. I took him out actually to put Cherry in. I had another mid-price who I'll discuss soon as well. But Jordan Clark, if Luke Ryan is out for 4 weeks at the start of the season, which I think is going to be unlikely, but I'll be very, very interested in Clark if that's the case. I think there's upside with Luke Ryan out of the side for him to get 10 to 15 extra points per game. And just for those 4 games, that makes a huge difference still. So that's why I'm willing to go there. I also really like Clark's buy and the Freo fixture. So I wouldn't mind having another Freo player who I think can cash in on that. And I have been tempted by Sarong for the same reason. But I'm not sure about Sarong's ability to score in this updated Fremantle game plan. Which has been heavily discussed in the fantasy community. I won't dive into it too much, but basically halfway through the season, Fremantle changed their game style to be a little bit more fast and direct. So guys like Sarong and Brayshaw lost a lot of their chip mark and a lot of the around the ground contest type things. So that's my issue with Sarong. In the midfield, Walsh was really good last night, but I do think that Geelong not tagging without Baz is probably one of the easiest midfields in the league to score against. So that was my thoughts with Walsh, but I am interested. He's definitely a watch for me, particularly when I can probably reasonably easily get Pickett there. Who else in the midfield? I'm kind of set on midfielders, to be honest. Would love to go Dawson, but the round 12 bye is an absolute killer. I just don't think I can go there. The other one, obviously, is Finn Callaghan, but when Tom Green went down, I took Finn Callaghan out. I think Green helps Callaghan score. I don't think Oliver looks good enough to replicate that. But maybe they get it from a guy like Rouston, who was sitting at my M7 until very recently when I turned Clark and Rouston into Cherry. So Rouston is going to have a lot of midfield time, particularly early. The thought process with Rouston is, hey, Tom Green's gone down. They brought Oliver into play anyway, so someone's got to get Tom Green's midfield time. The question is, does Rouston get enough of it to justify picking? Because I think Toby Green's going to get a lot of it too, and he looked really good in the Swans GWS game whilst I was watching. So that's really the question with Rouston for me. I am still quite interested in the pick. The other one at a similar price range that I am interested in. Obviously, I have 2 of these guys in this price range, so it's not very hard for me to go there. But I was also very impressed with Tanner Bruhn last night, who started the game like a house on fire. His kicking was far better than I thought it was, I'll be honest. And the fitness did look a little bit better than it has previously, which also really surprised me. That being said, he's still really faded out of the game, and it is a preseason game. So we've all fallen, or I've fallen for Tanner Bruhn in the preseason before. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. But if he looks good in round 0, I'll be quite interested in Tanner Bruhn. Rookies, there's not really many others that I'm thinking of, I'll be honest, just across all the lines. And then in the ruck department, the question for me is, the first question is McAndrew going at R2 or is he going at R3? Or is he going at the flex? And what that will boil down to for me is, is his scoring good enough to justify playing at R2 or the flex? The answer is yes, he'll go there. I'll play a loop if I need to. The question around the other ruck slots, whether I run 2 premiums or 1, comes down to the impact of the ruck rules. I am scared of fading Tristan Cherry because the run is unbelievably good early. And I think if he can, even if he can cash in on that and adjust to the rules by the time the run gets harder. I still think that he's probably not that much overpriced based on that. And then English, I've spoken about English at length. I don't enjoy owning English. He's a frustrating watch, but I think the main change to the ruck rules to me seems to be that the intelligent leaping rucks are able to get more hitouts to advantage at the centre bounce, not around the ground. It does not affect around the ground. And I think English will do well there. So he should get maybe 1 to 2 extra hitouts to advantage. That could be 10 points. So that's what I think about English. The other one that I am interested in is Brodie Grundy, who's come into my calculations recently by watching some other content creators. So, yeah, again, it's going to be hard to judge the ruck rules in round 0. Like a lot of the matchups are quite cupcake. Like, so Hawthorn versus GWS, like they're both going to be running 2 rucks. I think what I'm going to go off is the number of stoppages and contests, ruck contests specifically. If that looks to be significantly lower, then I will probably look to fade Cherry. The question is, do I go Grundy instead? I'm not going to go Grundy in English. So it's going to be either Cherry and English or Grundy, or English or Grundy plus Cherry. The other option is Luke Jackson, who, if Sean Darcy goes down, I will move heaven and earth to get Luke Jackson in. But while Sean Darcy is not on the injury list, i.e. he's fit, I'm not particularly interested in it, I will say. I also have no interest in Cooper Duff Tyler, who is a 200k in my eyes, 200k key forward in what I presume is going to be the worst team in the league this year. The scoring opportunities are going to be really hard to come by. Yes, the DPP is good, but he's still an undersized ruckman in his first season, who's clearly talented, who will be playing predominantly key forward. Luke Jackson is a good similar type to this. And if we have a look at Luke Jackson in his rookie season, he averaged 58, which at a price tag of 200 is not enough to make more than 100k. So it's a no from me. Those are his 2026 hours. What the heck? So yeah, like there's some scoring pedigree, but this is like, yeah, like I don't know. It's just not for me. Like I'm not going to begrudge someone else from doing it, but it's not for me. And then in the forward line, I kind of don't like any of the other options. I'm trying to think like. Like, if Nick Martin was available, obviously, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. But if Nick Martin was available, I'd pick him. I don't want to start a key forward because they are guaranteed to drop a stinker at some point. Rankin has the bad bye, and I'm not sure about his role. He's also had a hamstring issue at some point. And then it's like, you're sort of going down to the mid-prices. I think Toby Green will tempt some. I don't like Fraser. I think he's too inconsistent. But again, I can see the vision with Fraser. Rochelle, I don't think is going to get enough CBAs. Connor McDonald, I think, has the same problem. Lawler, I think, is not going to be playing enough around the ball. I'm trying to think who else. Is Cornelio? No, he's not. Oh, Brent Daniels is the other one, but he got injured. Like, there's a lot of these almost options at this price, but I'm just not liking it. Oh, and Zagoe, who I'm not touching to go with a 10-foot pole. I'll just be honest, too injury prone for mine. So that's kind of where I stand. I've sort of discussed, obviously I flew through the team, discussed a few players that I like the look of. I don't think the team has changed that much since my last video, which is the main sort of reason for flying through it. It will change a lot between now and the end of opening round as well. So I will probably have a team update after all this lot of preseason games is played. And then after opening round, I'll also have another team update. So yeah, that's the team for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. The next video will be a preseason games review. I'm not going to do the premium video because A, I've discussed a lot of the premiums I'm interested in here. And B, I think everyone's on the same page for premiums this year. Like, because of the buys, it's quite limiting. With a lot of the good premiums being on round 12 and then 10 teams playing in the early buys. So is what it is. I guess the other one that I didn't discuss is McCarthy, who's somewhat popular in defence. There's just no history in the role for me, so I'm not overly keen on that. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.